This is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. This first story is really interesting. It's about 10 people that have been convicted of producing fake Xanax, which is a pharmaceutical drug that is very popular around the world. And all of them involved were from the West Midlands. What's also interesting as well is this story highlights that companies that create these drugs, such as Pfizer, which also made the COVID vaccine, well, one of them, is actually investigating themselves, these sorts of crimes, and they inform the police and work together with the police to prevent massive losses to these companies. In January 2018, the pharmaceutical company Pfizer initiated an investigation into darknet market sellers that were operating, and one of them was called Milkman11 and UKBK. They were selling bulk quantities of tablets that they advertised as Xanax, a medicine previously manufactured by Pfizer. Pfizer made test purchases, and this I thought was really interesting as well, where they set people up to gather information to see what is actually in the drugs that are being sold. During their tests, Pfizer reported that the tablets were counterfeit and were dangerously dosed. This on its own raises questions because there is no information whatsoever in this report about anybody that had any overdoses or funny turns on these supposed fake Xanax that was being sold. Pfizer identified those responsible for shipping the fake tablets and passed the information to West Midlands Police. At the beginning of 2019, dark web investigations were set up by the Regional Organised Crime Unit, and also West Midlands Police worked alongside them. The investigation was to trace anybody involved in the manufacture and sale of counterfeit Xanax and the active ingredient, which is called alprazolam. West Midlands Police investigators explored the dark web and tracked the sales and deliveries to addresses across the Black Country, and they also traced the proceeds of the sales through transfers and conversion of cryptocurrencies that were mainly Bitcoin. The investigators found 4 pill presses that cost $7,500 each and were purchased between August 2018 and February 2019 from a UK-based company. Each press is capable of making 10,000 tablets an hour. During the same period, large quantities of alprazolam, which is the main ingredient of Xanax, and also an associate powder, were shipped from China along with bulking agents and other materials they needed to make the press. The police executed warrants in Wednesbury in August 2019, and thousands of counterfeit tablets were found, and they were being processed and ready to seal in foil bags. In Tipton, another warrant was executed, and in a garden shed, they found an industrial powder mixer, an industrial style unit, and also surfaces that were covered in white and pink powder, which is the sign of counterfeit Xanax. The following month, a warrant was executed in Wolverhampton in the West Midlands, and they revealed a tablet press machine, metal pill casts and stamps, as well as powder and handwritten recipe lists. Detective Inspector David Hollis said, "The scale of the production of these counterfeit tablets ran into the millions. We found evidence the group had purchased over 2 tons of bulking agent, which made up 90% of the tablets, and the weight of the active ingredient was 220 kilos. The profit they had from Bitcoin also ran into the millions." Pfizer's Global Security Chief Patrick Holt said, "We are proud about the role that we played alongside the police, and we are dedicated resources and expertise to stop the illicit counterfeit activities that have prevented this public health incident." So 10 people, as I said at the beginning, have been convicted, and none of them have been sentenced yet, but most of them have been convicted of money laundering, conspiracies to supply Class C drugs, and also trademark offences in relation to using the name Xanax, which is copyrighted and trademarked by Pfizer. So I thought this story was really interesting, and I look forward to hearing what the viewers have to say. Do you believe that Pfizer should be investigating these sort of cases alongside the police and have so much influence? The pharmaceutical industry is a billion-dollar industry, and of course they want to protect their profits. And in some other news coming from Northern Ireland and the National Crime Agency, a man has been convicted after he purchased blank firearms from Spain shipped them to Northern Ireland and sold them on as well. Nathan Paul, 32, from Castle Dawson, was arrested by NCA officers as far back as 2019, but he's only just been convicted recently. When the police searched his home, they found 32 firearms and 3 tasers. Investigators discovered Paul had purchased the firearms off a website in Spain and sold them on for a profit. The firearms were classed as front venting blank firing, which means they are readily convertible and are illegal in the UK. Paul had posted the guns online and advertised the weapons, and officers could link him to courier orders made after selling the weapons on. In total, the police found 35 firearms that were linked to Paul. A further 5 were recovered by the police after the information was passed on to local forces. Paul pled guilty to 2 counts of possession of prohibited weapons and 1 count of selling firearms at Londonderry Crown Court, and he was sentenced to 2.5 years imprisonment that was suspended for 3 years at the same court. So that means that he avoided jail altogether, which I've never heard of. And due to how these guns were easily convertible and they were sold on to people who we have no idea what their reasons for buying them were, it's very surprising that he's avoided jail. The National Crime Agency said they will work with their partners in the UK and around the world in order to prevent guns being imported. More than 703 firearms have been recovered in the UK in the last few years, and 74 arrests, 51 convictions, and 133 premises were raided. So I really appreciate you joining me for these stories. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and follow at Scarcity Studios. Peace.